Disclaimer: I do not own the clips or music shown. These are used for review and entertainment purposes. Thank you.
Yo, Pierre, you want to come out here?
Can make it. Very, very happy, very excited. Got a bunch of stuff on the way, but first we're gonna have to make some arrangements. All y'all are canceled. Don't even start. All y'all are canceled. You can't. I don't feel like talking to Sony. I don't feel like arguing with Sony right now. I'm tired of Sony. Every rad is gonna touch. Listen. Your Thor, it doesn't act enough like Chris Hemsworth. So I'm done with you. But I'm going to Disney XD, right? No, you're not going on Disney XD. You're done, son. You're done. Not enough like Robert. I don't even know what to do with you. We got an online game. We're gonna get rid of that in a few years. But I can still give you an online game. This has gone too far enough. That symbiote jacket has led to way too many incidents. I know exactly what show to get him right back into his senses. Greetings, guys. It's me, Camden, on channel Camden. Today, let's talk about the Superhero Squad show. And you know, the Superhero Squad show, the Marvel animated series that came out in 2009 and lasted until 2011, and it was on Cartoon Network. You know, the self-aware parody of the Marvel Universe where it poked fun at Marvel characters while paying respect to them and its source material at the same time. And a lot of stuff was with the Superhero Squad brand. The toys, the comics, the games, everything. Superhero Squad went crazy back then. And you know, some people loved it. You know, like some people during this time never mentioned that show on this channel a day in my life. Didn't show up. The Superhero Squad didn't show up, boys. I'm sorry. The underrated show squad still reminds us of how much we love Christmas. Bo also voiced Thor in
Whatever knows fear burns.
Particularly my entire childhood. Like, I need to mention that because at this point I feel it's obligatory to mention the Superhero Squad show on my channel. Sadly, we couldn't get Superhero Squad Online Spider-Man. Isn't the only time Ray Stevenson was the Punisher, as he was in a little bit. Sonic or the superhero. Yes, I know. Yeah, I mentioned the show many times, and I did a video on it a very, very long time ago when it was during the peak days of the pandemic. And, you know, like, I just felt like doing it because I felt like there needed to be a louder voice for the show at the time, as not as many talked about it at the time I did the video. You know, I felt like doing this video because I feel like it's time for me to have a remastered version of my thoughts on this show. Since, you know, time has passed since 2020, and there were some things that I didn't touch up upon in the original video. And also the fact that most of my videos during that time looked like this. Would you like to watch a whole video like this? It wouldn't really hurt this much since it's been such a massive staple of my channel for such a long time that my subscribers have talked about this show. It even got to the point where people used to tag me in posts. It even had a singular mention of Superhero Squad. They just tag and be like, "Hey, at Channel Camden, this post was particularly made for you." Let's go ahead and get back to the normal structure. So, you obviously already know this show was a massive part of my childhood talks. Yes, welcome back to Childhood Talks, where I just yap about my childhood. You know, you didn't ask for it, but I don't care. I used to watch the show all the time, especially during the weekend. Anytime I look up the TV, I'm like, oh look! I'm just captivated by seeing certain characters I recognized, like Iron Man, the Hulk, Wolverine. But also, there were some people I was like, oh cool, a Hawkeye, a Falcon, what? You know, I used to sing the theme song a lot too, because you know, the theme song is something special. It's truly.
Alright, Squaddies, time to hero up!
Superhero Squad, hero up. Superhero Squad. Also, so I obsessively played Superhero Squad online. That game was so fun. And there, I mained a certain character in that game, which I'll have a whole section in this video that I'll talk about later. Also, I had these. You know, I had these. Also, I had a MODOK until it got ran over. Like, the one time I was playing outside, and then like I guess I left him outside, and then like the next morning I looked between the grass, like I looked, and he was like smashed to pieces. I guess my mom ran him over by accident. Now imagine if it was like a Toy Story type case where MODOK could have been alive when I wasn't around, and my mom just she murdered MODOK. I got some memorabilia too. I had this coloring book when I was going through some old stuff I used to have. Yeah, look at this. So I got this too. I got this too. Crazy.
Super speed.
Did you guys say something?
Super strength.
Gosh, is that Cameron, boys? Yo, that. Wow. Huh.
Unleash your inner hero with VK Kids meals and superhero.
Of course, let's go ahead and talk about what the show is actually about. Hit it again. So, you see, Iron Man and Dr. Doom are in a battle over the Infinity Sword. A very, very powerful sword. But then they fight so hard that the sword gets turned into pieces called fractals that scatters across, across the world, mainly, the city that they're in. So, due to that event, Iron Man put together a team of superheroes, and while Dr. Doom, he puts together an army of supervillains, and they're on an ongoing battle to find the fractals. And then, not only their respective teams are in the middle of all of this, but almost any Marvel character you can think of is here. But there's one that isn't, but we're going to get to that later. Any way I can get this sword? Looks really cool. I should get it. Also, yeah, that's the premise for the show, and it makes sense since they want to introduce a bunch of Marvel characters. You got to have some sort of plot of separate heroes. A good 6 to 8 heroes that are central protagonists of the show. Well, if you want to go the main protagonist, it would be Iron Man, voiced by Tom Kenny. Yes, SpongeBob is Iron Man. He doesn't do a bad job. actually fits this particular version of Iron Man. He has to deal with all the wacky antics of the Marvel Universe, and he's in pretty much almost every episode in the entire show. And we get to see how he just reacts to magic, time travel, space, just anything. And I also love the joke that he just completely just hates magic anytime. Also, yeah, I guess we can note about Iron Man's design choice. Yeah, we can go ahead and talk about the eyes and the mouth and everything, even though it's... I get where the inspiration is from. I get it. He's with Doctor Strange. And of course, since he's Tony Stark, did you joke about how how rich he is and how he's a little bit of a womanizer as well? I have multiple jokes about how he used to date She-Hulk. Like a lot.
You once dated She-Hulk, but it ended when you discovered that...
Gentlemen, don't discuss those things.
But you know, you have the other heroes in the show as well, like Hulk, Thor, Falcon, the Silver Surfer, Wolverine. You know, Wolverine's voiced by Steve Blum, the typical French version of Wolverine, because like they play up how has short temper, and whenever he gets hit, I like that he screams in agony about his adamantium skin.
My bad!
I'm okay. Adamantium skeleton.
Also, they play into the fact of, you know, Wolverine always got to mentor the younger heroes, and now he always gotta be pretty much the uncle of the team. Even when certain episodes he's like, nah, bub, I work alone, even though I'm on a team and I'm on all the posters and stuff. And it comes to the play when he has to mentor Reptile, the younger member of the team. And of course, it introduced me and a lot of children to Reptile, especially the fact that he was a newer character in the comics at the time. I think that's really cool that they made Reptile the younger member of the group. I mean, yeah, he's a newer character in the comics, and was very obscure. They could have used the basic route and could have used, like, Jubilee or Kitty Pryde to be the younger member, but no, they chose Reptile, and I think that's really nice. And there's some episodes where he kind of doubts himself or the other heroes, or some villains doubt him because obviously he's the youngest, and he proves them wrong. And
Cheers, young reptile.
It's Reptile, Captain America. Whoa! I mean...
like, his powers, he's pretty much, you know, Beast Boy, except he only turns into dinosaurs. Me was kind of wondering whenever this guy was going to show up in the movies at one point. He still hasn't. I don't know. He might one day. And him interacting with the team is very fun too. And just the team in general is fun. I love it when the Hulk's anger is played up, and I find it a little weird that he doesn't really turn into Bruce Banner at all, besides the intro in like one episode in the show. Like he's pretty much almost always the Hulk. There's a Planet Hulk episode. There's actually a Planet Hulk episode, and it's great. Or they kind of play up how he speaks, you know, him being an Asgardian and all. And you also have Falcon, which was my introduction to Falcon, and he's really neat. And you also have the Silver Surfer, and he talks like a surfer. He actually talks like a surfer. And he has the same voice actor as this guy, too. Folks wanted the first X-Men movie. It's crazy.
So that is what happens to a toad when it is hit by lightning. What a letdown.
Captain Marvel, well, then Miss Marvel, still Carol Danvers, is in the show. And her interacting with Tony is very entertaining to watch. And there's also an episode where Enchantress puts a love spell on MODOK and Captain Marvel, and they fall in love. It's an episode. It's an episode. Yeah, I have Captain America, who's also voiced by Tom Kenny. He might be in my top 5 adaptations of Captain America. He's perfect. He's like very accurate. Like he's pretty much the hero that everyone looks up to, but he's also very silly. They love to play up the fact that he's just some old guy from the 40s that's very unaware of the modern times. Bro still thinks that Theodore Roosevelt...
Don't worry, Tom. I've been there. It's no picnic.
Something the show is great at in general. They'll introduce a character. They kind of poke fun at them about their lore or how they act, but it isn't in a disrespectful or cynical manner. It's like, you know, like, we're just making them really silly and exaggerated. But also just like, we respect them and we love them at the same time. You can tell the people writing this show, they read way too many comics.
Get your musket in an uproar, Brubaker. I'll be at the Shiloh reenactment. Hey, it's a civil war. What's the worst that could happen? Bye-bye.
Until they read way too many of them. You get introduced to a bunch of Marvel characters. All these characters, seeing such a vast variety of characters in the show is great. And the voice cast is interesting too. Like, you'll have James Marsters as Reed Richards, George Takei as Galactus, Shel Trachtenberg, rest in peace, as Valkyrie, and Sheldon Cooper as Nightmare. Looking up the voice cast is very interesting. You also get Sean Ashmore, who played Iceman in the movies, to voice him in this show. And you get Ray Stevenson, who played Punisher in Punisher Warzone.
Some sprouts, sneak on a plate of delicious macaroni and cheese. Sure, the city looks safe. Just push the Brussels sprouts to one side, right? Roger, no matter where you put their vile vegetable juices corrupt the whole plate. Oh. I'm out here to keep those stinking sprouts off the mac and cheese. Keep them from leaving the store in the first place.
Still, those characters I named, whoever you think of, they're in this show. The Fantastic Four, some of the X-Men like Cyclops, Storm, Jean Grey, Iceman, they'll pop up. You'll see Black Panther, Hawkeye, the Scarlet Witch. She joins the main team later on. You got Quicksilver, and you got literally She-Hulk, Hercules, the War Machine. You got there's also Doctor Strange. You have Nighthawk, who's voiced by Adam West, since you know he's a knockoff of Batman. So Hyperion, Adam Warlock, the Man-Thing, the
Inhumans, no, too out of the way. Brother Voodoo, no, too creepy. She-Hulk,
a bunch of characters. Think of a Marvel character. They're somewhere in this show. They're somewhere in this show. They're at least mentioned. Mostly heroes, but the villains, crazy. Doctor Doom, any villain Doctor Doom thought of, he's like, let me hire him just because I feel like it. Again, MODOK, Abomination, Loki is over here. Then over there you got Magneto, and then over that spot over there you got the Juggernaut and Sabretooth, and then you have Paste Pot Pete and Mo. Crazy with it, you know, it's gonna go crazy. Just add every character you can think of. Just any. Oh, look at this comic right here. Inhumans versus the Incredible Hulk, issue number 38. We're using that. I don't care. We're using that. Wait, what's this? The Amazing, Spectacular, Wondrous Adventures of Squirrel Girl. We're gonna use that now. Let's go. And when I was talking about the voice cast from earlier, Stan Lee plays the mayor of Superhero City. Yes, it's called Superhero City. I guess New York got so used to so many superheroes being there. They're so interesting. The heroes treat them with great respect, as you should. Whole episode where it was having an election with Egghead of all characters. How often do you see Egghead in things these days? We're talking about all these Marvel characters. We know the main go-to one that should be in this show. He actually should be on the main one on the team. Well, let me tell you guys something. Josh Keaton voices Moon Boy in this show. Spider-Man does not show up. There's no Spider-Man. No Peter Parker. No Spider-Man. There's mentions of him in the show. But no Spider-Man. No Spider-Man for you, Thomas. Unfortunately, Peter couldn't play with the other heroes at the time. Well, in the show, he was in all the games. He was on all the merchandise. He was on literally everything. except for the show.
I'm talking to myself, not other people.
Is that abomination in an antique shop? It can't be good.
Like a bull in a china shop. Though they actually have proven that that's not as bad as it sounds.
What do you really wonder why? I truly wonder why. Yeah, and in fact, they really wanted him in this show, clearly. They actually insisted on having him in the team that I read somewhere a few years ago. And Sony rejected the idea of having Spider-Man showing up. Get out of my house. I'm not even get out of my house. It was your fault. Get out of my house. Go.
Turn around, Spider-Man over there.
At least they gave it a payoff in Ultimate Spider-Man. And I mean, then again, like especially since Ultimate Spider-Man is somewhat of a spiritual successor to Superhero Squad, anyways.
Wow, your heads, my feet. What the heck?
I say thee nay, vile villain!
If Spider-Man was in the show, I'm sure it would have been very interesting to see how they would create jokes for him. I can tell you right now, they'll definitely make a bunch of One More Day jokes, and then they'll probably reference the Raimi trilogy, because, you know, it was popular.
Hey, Bub, I got a question. Didn't you used to be married?
I don't know what you're talking about. I used to be married. You get a lot of fun situations about every episode. There's always something of value with each one. Like, with under 20 minutes, there's just something that just it leaves you an impact, and you're just like, wow, that was really fun. At least one quote each episode that kind of sticks with you, like whether it's a joke or just something in particular that a character just... An episode where they have to babysit a little girl voiced by Tara Strong. Luke Cage and the Heroes for Hire are there, and he's in that 70s outfit. Or Iron Man gets turned evil being in contact with a fractal. He probably thought about, you know, giving Daredevil back his sight and then taking away. He gets turned gray, and he starts becoming smart. In the middle of some of the team cooking, they get turned small alongside Ant-Man, Hank Pym, and not Scott Lang. You also get Kazar from the Savage Land out of nowhere. You might get Wolverine being Captain Canada and teaming up with the All-Captain Squad. Or you might get Wolverine having to go back to Xavier's mansion because he didn't get his diploma. Scribbling some Season 2 episodes. There's 1602 adaptation. Planet Hulk, like I said, they get turned into babies. What's with every superhero show and them getting turned into little kids? At least one episode. What's with that? A lot of fun stuff with each episode with something so much of value, which added to the rewatchability. Like as a kid, because like I can just search up on Netflix and just be like, click on a random episode. Disney Plus wasn't always a thing. But in Season 2, they have to fight Thanos and they have to get the Infinity Stones. And a lot of wacky antics ensue because 2 delves into a lot more of the cosmic side of Marvel. As I said earlier with Planet Hulk, there's also the Squadron Supreme and Nighthawk. You get to see Adam Warlock, and Negative Zone is explored, and EMH. Iron Man has a cameo for like a few seconds. Scarlet Witch is a main part of the team, and there's a lyric about her in the theme song now. And at some point, Silver Surfer, he becomes the Dark Surfer. And at the time, this wasn't a storyline in the comics. They made this up, which is cool. So that's really cool. I mean, this show does a lot with adapting and satirizing certain storylines in the comics. And it's to the point where they're like, you know what? We'll just make up our own idea. Yeah, an evil version of one of the good guys. I can't imagine. Crazy. Dr. Doom's mom shows up in this show and it's hilarious. The show was not all. Superheroes also pretty cool too. They're very underrated. I don't see people talk about that much. They're really fun to read. They actually are. Marvel, can you give them a new comic run? You know, just something for us, please. But Superhero Squad Online, you just had to be there. Everybody played that game. And y'all wondering, who did I main in that game? Well, it's been a few videos, hasn't it? Spider-Man. There's a lot of Spider-Man in this game. And he's not really voiced by Keaton. He's voiced by Yori Lowenthal. And this is, I think, the first time Mr. Tennyson has voiced Spider-Man ever. I think this was his first ever
Smile.
time being him. And they're not just Spider-Man. His, like, Spider-Men show up. You have Spider-Woman. You have Spider-Man 2099. You have Miles Morales. Stop. Stop it. Stop. Oh my. Game has a vast variety of so many characters in alternate costumes and like a bunch of stuff adapted from the comics and stuff from the movies that were coming out. It went on for just a quite a little while. Somewhat. Superhero Squad Online, walk with me. Is somewhat of their own season 3 of Superhero Squad. There's even more characters. I mean, some of the continuity is there. I mean, pretty much, yeah. It's season. They introduced like certain characters that didn't get to show up in the show. And I remember spending hours upon hours on it at my grandma's house. When my grandma had like a computer, I was just playing on it, like literally. My grandma was right behind me, like, boy, you've been on that computer for a long time. The Superhero Squad show reminds us of what a great era Marvel had in like the 2000s to early 2010s. It makes us look back in endearment, and it kind of warms my heart that more people like me has kind of gravitated towards this show, and we could be more vocal about it. As at the time, I was like, man, people don't really talk about this show that much. I love sharing around that Punisher clip, like a lot. Like a lot. And the clip in the babysitter episode as well. Yeah, this show, it's actually, I could go on and on about how cool it is. Well, it really is. It's overall a really, really fun comedy show. Not just in being self-aware of Marvel, but also in general, it's fun. The characters by themselves, you'll find very entertaining to watch. Even if you haven't read The Amazing Adventures of Iron Man issue number 168. And the storyline is pretty neat. It's not like super duper deep, but it's nice and pretty easy to follow. And it has a clear love for Marvel. And it's pretty much the Batman Brave and the Bold of Marvel, if I could best compare it. And me rewatching certain episodes of this show, I can see why I mentioned it a lot, and I'm not going to stop anytime soon. So I highly recommend it, so maybe you won't stop shutting up about this show. And also, exempt it from the donut score since I reviewed it a long time ago. I'm sure you can pretty much figure out what donuts I would give. And you're thinking, this might be the last time I mention the show. No, I'm not going to stop. Ever. This show is just watch it. Just go watch it, man. Go watch, especially if you want a way to get into the Marvel universe. You know, especially easier way if you don't feel like watching about 40 movies. Then here's right it is. It just sadly you won't have a certain web slinger there. And he's in other things, so it feels like he's never left. A full, nice little moment for me, because I really wanted to go back and talk about the show, because I feel like there wasn't things I mentioned in my original review, or at least didn't like go more in depth on. There's the fact, since I was younger and much less experienced with editing and stuff like that. Also, that might be why I mentioned this show in a bunch of videos and stuff all the time, because I simply just can't talk about it in one video. Like I could go on and on. That's why I mention it so much. I mean, seriously. Whenever I have kids, as soon as they get out the womb, I might show them the super. Exactly. As soon as they get out of the womb, I'm gonna take out my phone and put on an episode. You gotta school them somehow. You can. You guys like, comment, not a mean comment, subscribe, And Squaddies, it's time to hero up.
You're the cherry on my sundae. I think you feel it too. Love is a wonderful thing. Love is a wonderful thing, you know. Love. Oh, save the day.